Good afternoon. It is April the 24th. I'm starting from the Hotel Saskatchewan, as I sometimes do. I'm going to go down by the lake on my way home, so stretching it out a bit. Haven't been by the lake for a bit. So I'm going to get over to Hamilton Street, so I guess I'll cross here. We'll walk along by the Sask Power building here, like I sometimes do. Oh, it's actually sprinkling on me. That's unexpected. I was riding, working on the fifth magic, got a reasonable chunk done. I'm in kind of the middle part where at the moment, after a lot of excitement, it's kind of quieted down. There's a lot of talking, but there's big action scenes not too far away, which I'm looking forward to. They're always fun to write. As I always point out, walking along here, these pillars look like bones because fossil fuels, don't you know? And this is the Sask Power building, even though we now, of course, know, probably was known before the popular opinion of it changed. That you don't actually get fossil fuels from dinosaurs, but nevertheless, that's what the bone-like pillars here represent. So there's the Efward Tower, coffee shop I often work in, I mean. That's the federal government building from the 30s, I think that was built. Hence the kind of Art Deco look, or modern, whatever you call that. Pints for the people, says a sign over there, but we're not going that way. We're going down Hamilton here. Hamilton Street, that is. And my shoelace is feeling loose. I hope it stays tied, however loosely, so I don't have to stop and tie it. Should have done it before I left the hotel, but oh well. This used to be a drive-through. You could go through and drive through and pay your bill, but nobody does that anymore. It's all done online. It's the back of Blessed Sacrament Church over here. Church I've sung in a few times. Not recently, but when I sang with the University of Regina Chamber Singers, we would record in there sometimes. We have a reunion coming up this summer. I hope I'm actually around to take part in it. I think I will be. The weekend after that, to be in Calgary, but I think the week of the reunion, the first weekend in August, I think it is, should be around. So that'll be good. I think we're going to do some rehearsal and even sing a little, which will be fun. Dr. Catherine Morin, who is our director, is coming back for it as well. She's been a few places since then. Our parking lot, not too exciting. A Wawa Shrine Center over there. Shriners, of course, are the ones with the little fezzes, drive around in little toy cars. At least they used to. I don't know if they still have that or not. Of course, with fezzes, I always think of Doctor Who, but that's just me. I'm not too sure what's in this building. Something to do with the health department, I think. Yeah, Saskatchewan Health Authority, it says on it. I've always liked the Capel apartments over here. Coming down this way because it takes me straight to a crosswalk that'll take me into the park, and then I can make my way down by the lake as I head on home through here. Still feeling a spit or two of rain, but nothing significant. old apartment buildings over there that aren't nearly as interesting as the Capella apartment. Saskatchewan Apprenticeship and Trade Certification Commission. So it has a big for lease sign on the front of it. Their old apartment building. Ooh, look at that. There are definitely buds happening. I knew there must be. I just hadn't stopped and looked closely, but indeed there are. 3 more weeks, we'll have leaves everywhere. Even though it snowed yesterday, or the day before yesterday. It's now an Indian restaurant. It was some sort of Western restaurant before that, and I still remember when it was a Japanese restaurant. I think we celebrated our first anniversary there. As we come up to Central Park, our Central Park, considerably smaller than the New York version. Crossing 14th here. There we go, Central Park. Grass is turning green there too. I'd be careful about playing in it because of potential of discarded needles, but it's just me. And I say that because we actually found some once. So. Over on the other corner over there, you can't really see it, but they're building Ronald McDonald House on a lot that, as I mentioned before, when I first moved here, it had a restaurant there, and an old, I think it was a house, but then it turned into a restaurant. There were a couple other houses that have been torn down, so it's a much bigger lot, quite large, and they're working on Ronald McDonald House. You can hear the noise like I can. Condos or apartments over here. I'm not sure if they're rental or condos. As I often point out, this park has a lot of information about Mary Bonnie Baker, who was a professional women's baseball player. If you know the movie A League of Their Own, the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League, she played with them in the latter part of the 40s, maybe into the 50s. Over there, that's what they're building. Oh, there's a goose. There's always a goose. When you least expect it, there'll be a goose. And this is the condo complex where we have a condo, not this building, but one of these 3 buildings that we bought when we were first married and lived in for a long time. And lived in again a few years ago when our house was under renovations. And we've kept it. But it's not this building. I have been in this building. I've been in all 3 of them at one point or another. They're all very similar. This was the 3rd one built. Ours was the 2nd, and the one coming up here on College Avenue was the 1st. The one we looked at the show suite in for deciding to buy ours. The building that hadn't been built yet, or was under construction when we visited the show suite. College Gardens, that one's called. Ours is called College Court, and this one is called something else. Don't remember. So we'll come up here, we will cross into the park, Wascana Center, make our way down to the lake, and walk alongside the lake for a bit to get home. It's a good place to cross because it has an actual crosswalk light you can activate. And College is a fairly busy street, so it's helpful. Over there is the soundstage building, and also has offices of a number of creative organizations, including Sask Books, that I'm vice president of, and Creative Saskatchewan, which gives me grants from time to time, and hopefully we'll do so again this year. Grants to publish books. It's the college building over there, the original Regina College. Has lots of things in there now, but among other things, it has the Conservatory of Performing Arts. Shall we take a look at the frog while we're going by? I think so. The sculpture was been here a long time. Had deteriorated quite a bit, but they fixed it up in the last couple of years. There you go, because at one point the art department of the university was in this building, and the theater department was in that building, although there's not much left of the original building over here. It's just a facade. There you go. Frog. 1971. Created by Joe Efward. You can read up on it there. I'll pause long enough. You can pause the picture if you want to read it yourself. I won't read it out loud. There you can see more of the soundstage, which connects to CBC, which is a shadow of its former self. The Saskatchewan archives are in this building now, too. I used to go there every week for the science column in the afternoon edition for some, I think it was 17 years I did that. And then all of a sudden they decided I'd done it long enough, and that was that. I did a few other short-term columns with them, and then eventually it all dried up. Cutbacks were coming. The freelancer lost his job. Old Campus Road. This is still Hamilton Street. I know they still called it that. There's this side. Much nicer looking than before all the renovations are done on it. This was all kind of waste land back there. Now it's all nicely landscaped. Righty. Bit out of the way, but we'll be going this way. Back in the old days. I can remember when this pathway was just kind of a beaten down trek from people walking on it, but at some point they decided, well, if people are going to walk there, we might as well make it an actual path, and they didn't exactly pave it, but they at least made it more graveled. This is the back of UBC and the fascinatingly named Area 2 Depot, because they put equipment in here for working on the park. There's a duck. We had a goose, now we got a duck. Probably see a rabbit if you pay attention. Certainly some around. Okay, so that's actually the way we want to go, but for interest's sake, I'll go up here and go down through the parking lot, which is central to the first book of my Shards of Excalibur series, as I've often mentioned, which is still available. Whole series. If you want to get an ebook, you can get the whole series for like $9, $10. All 5 books at once. Print books are, I think, basically $15 Canadian. I will sell a bunch of them in Saskatoon next week. I usually do, at least, at what they're now calling Pop Expo, or why is it Pop YXE, something like that. Used to be called Sask Expo. Basically, it's a Comic Con style convention, and I always go and sell books there. I will have a table if you want to come find me and you happen to be in Saskatoon. I and Shadow Paw Press. Books all over the table. I have so many books now, I don't even know that I can fit them all on the table at once. We'll see how it goes. We're headed that way, but we'll go down to the end of the parking lot here. Since this is where, in the book, Ariane discovers she can control water to fight back against some bullies, right here in this parking lot, because it's right here. Oh, didn't used to have those bollards there, but between here and Willow Island over there is where the Lady of the Lake from King Arthur shows up and gives Ariane and young Master Wally Knight the quest of finding the scattered shards of Excalibur before Merlin can. In his modern day guise as Rex Major, kind of a Bill Gates, Steve Jobs kind of computer magnet. Happens right here. And launches the 5-book series. And at the end of the series, spoiler, reforged Excalibur ends up in the lake, just off that side of Willow Island. So if you'd like to go bobbing for it, you can do that. I hope to be, Willow Island is also where they set off the fireworks, and I've been invited to actually be on the island during the fireworks in Canada Day this year, because the guy that sets them off liked my live streamed recording of it. Oh, this is new. They've cut down a bunch of bushes here. Gives you a nicer view of the lake. I suppose it might be for security reasons, so it's no longer kind of secluded down in there between the bushes. They'll grow back, not for a while. Yeah, that's new. And they've cut down a bunch right along the lake too. Huh. It has been a long time since I've been along here. I would have known that. Sometimes I would take the shortcut through there and it was kind of all surrounded by bushes, but not now. Far fewer than there were. The geese calling over there. My shoelace is definitely loose, but I don't think I'll have to retie it. Now, there's another place you can take a shortcut, which is right here. I think I will. Stay closer to the lake. It just winds a little bit that way, is all. Nothing special. That, of course, is the Saskatchewan Legislative Building over there. I channeled the lake a little bit in the section I was writing in Fifth Magic today. There's this sort of clandestine meeting down by the lake with in their case, the National Assembly building on the far side. But I was totally thinking of Wascana Lake, man. Totally. Sometimes it's muddy here, but it's dried up since the snow 2 days ago. They put a lot of wood chips on this path all the time, so that helps too. A lot of people out walking around. Don't they have jobs? Apparently not. It's only what? 4 o'clock? We can't all be school teachers. Ooh, a lot of water standing under the trees though, even though the path is not muddy. Water's pretty because it's reflecting the sky, which is kind of interesting right now because of the clouds. Land of living skies, they call Saskatchewan. It's on our license plate. Okay, there's another goose. Oops. I haven't seen any rabbits though. I kind of thought we would, but oh well. Again, there's the ledge. Over there, that's an apartment building, condo building called Roberts Plaza. Really, I missed the melt because last time I looked, it still had ice on it. Now it doesn't, so. Nothing suspicious about that. Strange little bottle of something. Some birds up there. I don't know, something white. Could be a little bit of snow left, I suppose. If I ever do the bingo idea, jogger will be one of the things on there. Dogs will be practically a give me because there's always dogs. Cats are rarer. Squirrels are pretty common. Rabbits are pretty common. The idea was that I would somehow create a bingo card, and you followed along on the walk and were the first to send me a completed bingo card, I'd send you a free ebook. Thought about it for a long time. I've never done it. Still could. But that away, there's a swimming pool. Not in operation yet, of course. A month away from that, I would think. Usually it's after the long weekend in May or on the long weekend in May. There's also a playground. Probably explains the cries of the children. Band shell or gazebo, where I have performed once or twice. Went to a wedding there once too. Been there. Oh, it's got to be well over 100 years old now. Probably built in the teens or thereabouts. A couple of ducks. Looks like it's about ready for a coat of paint, but okay, either I keep going this way or I cut through the grass. I have an urge to cut through the grass, so we'll do that. A view of the gazebo. Make sure I don't step in the hole. This will intercept a path here. Which will take us to the crosswalk we need to get across Albert Street. Over there's the Royal Saskatchewan Museum. Downtown, where we started. Back that way. An interesting sculpture here. I believe it's in honor of immigrants, if I remember right. And a bit more spitting rain. Not exactly a threatening cloud, but still a cloud. This one. Here's the path we are working to intercept. Right up here, and there's Albert Street ahead of us. Lake to our left. It's the Speaker's Corner up here, named after the one in London. It even has some lanterns that came from there, although I think there used to be a statue of Queen Victoria, and they took it down to avoid offending the kind of people who are offended by statues of Queen Victoria. And considering the city is named after her, I think that's absurd. Also, particularly ironic, taking it down at Speaker's Corner, which is supposed to be in honor of free speech. But they didn't ask me. They never do when they do stupid things like that. They. It's the government. The government. Don't trust the government. No matter who it is. We have an election coming up on Monday, and of course, that's the old joke. You ever notice, no matter who wins the election, the government still gets in? Of course, my other favorite quote is by H.L. Mencken, that democracy is the theory that the common people know what they want and deserve to get it good and hard. So if you don't like the results of Monday's election, and right now it's looking like I might not, well, there's that. People voted. They got the government they wanted. Now they have to live with the consequences. Because I think it was Winston Churchill said that democracy is the worst form of government in the world except for all the others. It's always a long wait here at the Albert Street Bridge. A very long wait here. Doesn't matter how often you push the button. Doesn't seem to have any effect on how long you have to wait. You can tell when people start to slow down, though, that it's about to change. And another jogger. And a lawnmower. It's another sign of spring, for sure. And a BMW parked on the grass. I wonder why it's parked on the grass. I do kind of know the people who own this house, but I've never been in it. I'd like to. It looks like a very nice house. And since I mentioned the shards of Excalibur, Wally Knight, the boy in the story, lives down in a fictional house in this very real cul-de-sac here. Back of his house right up against the creek. And an indoor swimming pool. I don't know if any of those houses have indoor swimming pools, but the story required him to have one, so he does. Such is the power of being an author. I can conjure swimming pools out of thin air. I did it at the high school, too, because the high school in the book is basically based on Balfour Collegiate, which does not have a swimming pool, but since so much of the book revolves around water and being able to travel through water and materialize and dematerialize in water, it had to be a swimming pool. Logically, when the kids did that, their clothes shouldn't have gone with them, but since I couldn't very well have naked teenagers running around, I made the editorial decision that their clothes did in fact go with them, or anything they were carrying went with them, which had other practical reasons, because if they were going to take any kind of supplies, they had to be able to take something with them. So had I gone the whole werewolf idea, never mind the issues of modesty and finding clothing wherever they ended up, we couldn't have taken anything with them. It would have complicated things immensely. So it's magic, so the rules are what I say they are. So I say it's logic, but there's really no logic involved. Logically, you can't dematerialize in water and travel somewhere else. Logically. Construction sign. I wonder if they're renovating inside that house. It's a very unprepossessing front, but I imagine it's quite nice inside, because most of the houses along here are. Here on Angus Boulevard. There's an Angus Boulevard, there's an Angus Street, and we live on Angus Crescent because Mr. Angus, whoever he was, got a lot of stuff named after him. I think he was a city councillor of some sort. There's a much smaller gazebo. We'll go through the alley here, which connects to Angus Crescent. This is Leopold Crescent here. Up ahead is Davin School, which I will never call the Crescent School, which is what they renamed it to. It's Davin School when my daughter went there, therefore it is Davin School. And again, I so object to stripping historical names off of things just because somebody now doesn't like what the person then, everything that he did. Davin did a lot of great things, and probably some things that weren't so great, but stripping the name of a historical figure off of something is, well, it's like communist Russia and China trying to rewrite the past and making people disappear because they don't adhere to the current preferred ideology. And I think that's wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Rant over. That's Davin School up ahead. Heck, was I in the opera? No, I saw an opera about Nicholas Flood Devon. I had friends in it. We were dating. I think I took my wife-to-be to it. Eos, the dream of Nicholas Flood Devon. That's a new house that looks a lot like the old houses, but whenever somebody builds a new house, it's 1.5 times the size of the old houses. People don't like, these houses aren't big enough for them. They need something bigger. So any new house tends to be bigger than the old house it replaces. And to be fair, our house has very tiny closets, for example, or did until we renovated. So there's something to that. Okay, that's it. We'll stop here. Thanks for walking with me, and bye for now.